Hey guys, welcome back to the lab. Today at the bench, we are going to be cleaning the old animal glue off of the spine of this book and applying the first lining to it. And then we'll be taking a close look at the text block and its issues. So I use a bar clamp on the working boards to help me get the oversized text block into the press. I am not a petite person, but I still need help to maintain the curve and the shoulders of the spine area of this text block when transferring it into the press. And as you can see, I actually add another bar clamp and I move them to each side of the book so that the sections are pressed firmly together before I strip off the old lining, because if I don't, it will fall between the sections, or it could, and I don't want that. And I also need this to be without gaps between the sections when I apply the first lining to this book. So now I'm prepping the poultice, which is wheat starch paste that has sat for a few days after I make it. And I can either strain it or not through a couple layers of silkscreen material, but I'm choosing to strain it today because there's a lot of text block to cover and it will go on more quickly if I strain it. Many conservators use horsehair strainers to make their paste the correct consistency for use. I simply choose silkscreen material because it's less expensive and it gets the job done. And I take my time applying this poultice material so that I get good coverage. The paste at this thickness takes a while to dry, so time isn't really a concern. I would rather be thorough than not. And now I'll rinse my hands and apply plastic wrap and let it sit and swell the original animal glue on the spine. And clean up for this poultice. It's water soluble, so everything just washes with water. So now I'm seeing if this 130-year-old animal hide glue has swelled. And as you can see, the color changes. It darkens a little. And I don't want to push this rehydrated glue into the edges of the book at the top and bottom, the head and tail. because it will dry and it will turn back into glue. And that would glue my book shut, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I have my finger here to scrape onto to make sure I don't get any of this adhesive where I don't want it. So as you can see, I am going to be really thorough with this and be certain that I remove any animal hide glue that's willing to come off. And as you can see here, I'm uncovering what looks like a wax pencil or a crayon star. And my guess is that the person who sewed this text block put that star on there so they could get paid for it. They were probably paid per text block that they sewed. And that's just a guess on my part. I don't really know. But I can tell that it's not to align all the sections because it would go side to side, usually at an angle. If I'm binding from scratch, I'll mark my text blocks that way if order matters. And you'll notice there were a couple of spots on this book that didn't come clean, and so I'm going to repoultice just those few spots in just a minute. And because I have to repoultice, I have to take everything back out that I just put up. I usually wait until I'm certain that the spine, everything comes clean or as clean as I would like it to be. And today I guess I just wasn't focused, so I put everything away to take it back out again, but that's okay. So now I'm just going to clean up these few areas that didn't swell sufficiently. I think they had a little too much paper left on them. Okay, so now I'm going to apply the first spine lining to this book, and I use wheat starch paste and a thin piece of long fibered paper. I want this lining on before I poke around the inside of this text block too much. This book has surprisingly brittle paper and some loose sewing, so I don't want to jeopardize either of these. And the increased stability provided by the first lining will support both and allow me to more safely examine and repair the paper in this text block. So I take my time with this adhesive application as I need to make sure there's a thorough and even coating of this paste on the spine. And then I lay the long fibered tissue. And I press it with my fingers and also make sure I really want it well adhered. So I press it into the backs of the sections and the sewing with a brush. So as you can see, I've really taken my time applying this first lining, and I want to make sure that the tissue is pressed into sections that actually sit a little lower and don't align perfectly with everything else. And you can see I kind of take my fingernail and push out extra wheat starch paste that has collected in these low spots, because if I leave this thick paste in these low spots and it dries, it is more prone to pop loose, and these are areas that need the most support. So they need the same amount of paste as the other sections, and so you'll see me kind of work it out from underneath just to ensure an even coating. So I let that first lining dry overnight, and now I'm going to, with the sewing and this brittle paper kind of supported with at least one lining, I can take a really careful look at the inside and flag areas that need attention. So as you can see, I pull the text block out of the press using the bar clamps as extra support again. And then I go get a stack of press boards from over by the press for support, because I don't want this thing, when I open it, to flop at such a harsh angle as it would if it opens all the way to the table. So I want to prevent it from doing that. So I set the press boards there to keep that angle a little more narrow. And now I'm going to take pieces of scrap paper and go through and mark where sections are loose. Like the first section, I'm not worried about resewing it because it's all tipped together, and that means it's already all adhered together, and I didn't even do it. It came that way when it was originally bound. But I do need to tip that whole unit back to the book. So you might be wondering why I'm not going to pull the old sewing that's loose and re-sew the parts of this book that have compromised sewing. And so I set this book aside for at least a couple days, and I thought about it. Some books I have to do that. I'll just let them sit and I'll think, and it works really well for me. So I would have to, in order to resew this book, almost fully open these sections and really get in there and manipulate this brittle paper. And I am choosing a conservative approach of adding just a small amount of this reversible adhesive to loose sections at the gutter of the book instead of a resew at this point. So if necessary in the future, I can actually take this book back apart and resew at a later date if this conservation treatment, this conservative approach, is unsuccessful, or if it fails soon after the book is returned to the client. I prefer, within the best of my ability, to keep my clients as content as possible. And so if anything goes wrong, I would like to be able to readdress it in the future, and this allows me to do that, this decision. So as you guys can see, I'm about to flip the book over. I like to assess one side of the text block and then assess the other side of the text block if the book is larger, so I don't stress the sewing by flexing the book again at a weird angle before the book is fully lined. So you see me making little notes on these slips of paper and then putting them into the text block. So I'll come back in the next video and I will mend these spots again with paste and long fiber tissue, or if they're an overlapping tear, I will just do an overlapping mend using paste. And as you can see during my exam, I've found something in the book and it looks like it's a thorn off of a plant, which is weird, but it's not the weirdest thing I found in a book. So this is kind of an interesting piece of damage to this text block. This area right here it's like a double fold. It's two folds, but they have broken without me even unfolding them. They were already broken just from being folded. And that kind of attests to how brittle this text block really is. And this book has a lot of plates and they've been tipped in, and that has its own set of issues, weird kind of tensions it puts on the book. And as you can see, there's a handwritten section where the family has entered, births, deaths, and marriages. That's fairly common. Unfortunately, it's in great shape. All right, guys, thanks for watching this episode. You can tune in next time as we mend the broken and loose pages in this text block and then continue with the lining process on this book. All right, be sure to ask any questions you have below and subscribe to show the lab some love. Thanks.